Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the player ratings. Everton 0, Aston Villa 0. Bit of a board draw really at Goodison Park. Couple of moments in both halves. Obviously 2 disallowed goals. One that took far too long on VAR. When it should have been either offside or a foul on Danjuma. One or the other should have been seen quite easy. But a good point considering how we've played against teams who have occupied the top 4 or top 6 since Dyche come in. I think we've only taken points off Arsenal in his first game, if I remember rightly. So it was good to get a point. As I said, it wasn't a particularly great game. It wasn't a particularly nice day. It was just one of those where sometimes you've just got to get through it and you take a point. Don't get beat. Take a point. If you can't win it, don't lose it. And obviously that's 2 0-0s in a row. But 3 games without a worry. Without a goal, which is a bit of a worry. Sorry, not 3 games without a worry because we're all worrying. 3 games without a goal, which is a bit of a worry. The goals have dried up massively. The chances have dried up massively. I'm sure some XG boffin will tell me that they haven't, but to the eye, they have. But against a team like Villa, who are a good side, it's not a bad point whatsoever. And we've got now a couple of weeks or so before we play our next Premier League game. Yeah, let's get into it anyway. Jordan Pickford in goal, made one huge save in the first half, low down to his left. Made 4 saves in total in the game. One in the second half, which he came and done like the Superman flying punch, which annoyed a lot of people around me. But I think he was just trying to get it out the box, and he did get it out the box. But yeah, 4 saves and I think he made a big one in the second half as well. So good, solid performance from him. Some of his kicking at times, a little bit too quick, catching people out. That can happen. Listen, sometimes you play a ball and it looks amazing, and sometimes you don't. But he had to make a couple of big saves for us today. So Jordan Pickford, 7.5. Seamus Coleman, back playing Premier League games. Thought he looked a little bit. I thought the first half he looked a little bit slow to react in a couple of moments, but I thought as the game went on, he improved loads and showed why he is why he will be picked, I imagine, ahead of Patterson when he's available. 5 clearances, 2 block shots, 1 interception, 3 tackles, cleared off the line, but 1 clearance off the line, won 3 of his 6 ground duels and won 1 out of 1 aerial duels. So just show you his heat map for this afternoon, and as you can see, quite a lot of it in and around our box. Not too much in the final third, and obviously the way we were set up today was very much to defend. We weren't gambling. Even the 2 wide plays weren't really gambling. But there was a couple of moments I would have liked to seen Seamus maybe have gone round the outside of Jack Harrison and help him a little bit, but didn't. He did that a little bit more in the second half. But yeah, decent game all round. So Seamus Coleman, I would give a 7.3. On the other side, Michalenko, again, steady as you like, very, very consistent. Our most consistent performer this season. Ground duels won 3 out of 3. Aerial duels won 1 out of 2. Clearances 5, block shots 1, interceptions 1, tackles 2, and obviously playing a lot of the game with their head bandage on as well, from a nasty looking incident in the first half. But very, very steady. Again today, all about his defensive work. Did not get forward at all in this game, which is obviously is obviously the tactics rather than the player. And as you can see, his heat map is non-existent in the opposition half, and again is all around our box and tucking in a lot, very much like Seamus Coleman's was, tucking in into the box as well and trying to leave no space for someone like Ollie Watkins to get in behind him, which they certainly didn't from the wide areas. But Mykolenko very, very steady again. He's such a good defender and a quite patient defender as well. He doesn't tend to jump in. He backs himself. And a lot of the time it's for good reason, because he does win the ball. So I would give him a 7.5. James Tarkowski, I thought he was a little bit ropey in the first half, I must admit. I thought they were getting in too easily with the ball over the top, and it was catching him out a few times in the first half. I thought he was a lot better in the second half, as we snuffed that out. Won 4 of his 6 ground duels, won 9 of his 10 aerial duels, and obviously that's his strength. And obviously the flashpoint of the game was down to his tackle, and I just can't for the life of me understand why he was booked. I really can't. I can't understand why he was booked. He won the tackle fair and square. He basically walked away from the situation. Douglas Luiz jumped in and sort of walked over to him, and then he shit himself and walked away, and the ref never even went near him. He's the person who should have been booked for the whole thing. Why Tarkowski was booked, I have no idea. Yeah, I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all. It was very, very strange why he got booked. Was he booked because he sort of gestured to some of our players to come over, or I really don't know. It's such a strange one. But I thought he was a lot better the second half, and they really didn't get in over the top with that ball, really, as we dealt with it and play. Maybe we started to play it, I think, a little bit of a deeper line. And if you look at Tarkowski's heat map, as you can see, there's a lot on the right hand side, but you can see how the red spot just below our penalty spot as well. So obviously we started playing a little bit deeper second half and snuffed them out. But I just can't get that. I can't get that booking for 1 minute. If anyone should have been booked, it was that Douglas Luiz. And if any Everton player should have got booked, it was Onana, because Onana comes steaming in. It was bizarre, absolute bizarre. And again, it shows that referees just don't have a clue. Don't have a clue about instances that involve footballers and how their mind work and everything. They just haven't got a clue. I would love to hear an explanation of why he booked them. I really would. Very, very strange. But as I said there, in the first half, I thought he could have done a little bit better, but he did improve as the game went on. And as I just said there, his numbers very, very strong, and we adapted to the situation in the second half. So James Tarkowski, I give 7.6. Jared Branthwaite as well, very, very good. Couple of little moments that I noticed where he tried to get in ahead of Ollie Watkins a couple of times and mistimed them and allowed them to break, but that was just literally 2 instances in the game. His passing is improving all the time. He doesn't always look for the easy pass. There's one in the first half where he played the ball down the left wing. It was almost like played with his heel, and it was almost like disguised, but it was such a clever but simple ball at the same time that I imagine people wouldn't expect a centre back to play. But again, just his numbers: 5 out of 6 ground duels won, and 2 out of 2 aerial duels won. Clearances 5, block shots 2, interceptions 4, tackles 4, interceptions 2. There's such a good partnership. But as I said, just those couple of moments where maybe it's just a little bit hasty to try and jump in and to try and get him in there. But Really, really good. Really, really good performance by him and Tarkowski. So Jared Brandtwaite, I would give a 7.6. And our defence, for the most part, were good today. As I said, just early on with that long ball, it was simple ball over the top as well. That caught us out a couple of times in the first half. And as I said, no surprise that we did play a lot deeper. And again, you look at the heat map there, you can see how deep Jared Brandtwaite was, and I think a lot of that was in the second half as we dealt the tussle in midfield. McGinn is a lovely player that I would love to have a player like him in midfield. A player maybe, I don't know, maybe James Garner could maybe one day replicate in the way he just moves the ball, keeps the ball moving so well, always on the move, always changing angles, changing direction, doesn't give the opposition a minute. I thought he played really well. I thought we struggled to deal with him at times. But as I said, midfield, Amadou Onana, again, not a huge game for him in terms of contributing. Won 7 of his 11 ground duels, won 1 of his 2 aerial duels. Touches of the ball 46, 71% pass accuracy. That's not great for a player in his position, and did little to affect the game today. I thought did very little to affect the game, and as you can see there, a lot of his work was just ahead of our back four. And as our back four was getting deeper, he was getting deeper as well, which obviously doesn't help. But so not a great game for Onana, but I'd like to see a little bit more from him. So Amadou Onana, I would give a 6.8 on today's performance. James Garner, a little bit similar, maybe a little, I don't know whether he was a little bit more industrious. 40 touches, but again, pass accuracy 54%. That's not great. That's not great, especially when they're not in the final third and you're not trying to carve teams open. Won 7 of 11 ground duels though, no aerial duels from. So in terms of like winning the ball back and tackles and pressing, a decent game. As you can see, his heat maps sporadic, but no real red on there either. But obviously, between him and Onana, he's the one. Onana's the sitter, and he's the one who goes a little bit further forward and tries to make things happen. And again, it's all dictated by what you're playing against. I thought their midfield is better than our midfield. It's a lot more balanced. And as I said, as we dropped, James Garner and certainly Onana had to drop as well. So it did. That's when you want either your fullbacks or your wide men to get into higher positions. But again, it was self-preservation, wasn't it? It was making sure we didn't get beat, I think, for the most part today. So James Garner, I would give a 6.9. Abdoulaye Doucouré in front of him, obviously very good to have him back. Great finish for the goal that got disallowed. It's a shame he wasn't the one who got 1-on-1 in the first half. Again, we look a lot more comfortable when Doucouré plays in that role because he knows how to play it, and that's the difference. When he's not in the team and when he's not playing in that role, we just look like it's just not the same. It's not a player who can make those runs in behind. It's a player who's been pushed up and isn't really going to add anything to it. Doucouré, obviously, first game back in nearly a month. There is still that will have done him the world of good today, and obviously he will be a lot sharper for Wednesday night. But it wasn't his best of games. But for him, it's those moments, and if he literally just looking at that offside again, he's a fraction offside, like half of his body gets caught on the run. Sometimes the fullback stays in. If the fullback stays in, he's through, and it's a decent finish. But 32 touches, 50% pass accuracy. Ground duels, won 5 out of 11. Aerial duels, won 1 out of 1. Again, not. And you do see this when he plays at home. It's quite typical of him, that he doesn't have a massive effect on the game. He has an effect in the moments. And again, as I said earlier about making chances, we didn't make a lot of chances. So therefore, there wasn't those moments for him to come up big like he has done. There's his heat map there, and as you can see, he's all over the pitch. Probably not in our box enough, but you've got to create those chances, and that's the big problem with this team, is making those chances. And there's so much pressure actually on James Garner and Onana as the centre midfield players to create those chances, because Doucouré isn't a creator, he's a finisher, and they're also on the wide players. So which I'll come on to in a second. But Abdoulaye Doucouré, I would give a 6.8 for today. The wide areas, Jack Harrison. Didn't create too many opportunities. Only had 34 touches, 63% pass accuracy. Didn't make too many opportunities. 5 crosses, only 1 was successful. No shots on target, no shots off target. Dribble attempts, 1 unsuccessful, 1 2 out of his 7 duels. But again, it's these areas in the wide players. I stress it all the time. They've got to be having shots on goal, and they've got to be creating chances. And that's an issue with our wide players. And a lot of the time, they do just fit into a system. And I do think today was more about getting back, making it difficult for the opposition. Mykolenko and Coleman tucking in a little bit more, and the wide men having to create to stop the overlaps. But there are opportunities, and there are times where we've got to be a little bit braver. And there's just not enough. There's just not enough end product a lot of the time, and that's somewhere we've got to massively improve. There's not enough pace either. That was a notable thing with them today, is in the wide areas there's so much more pace, and up front so much more pace to cause trouble, to close people down. If you haven't got it, you haven't got it. Of course, I appreciate that, but I didn't think Harrison had a particularly good game. Don't get me wrong. Don't think he worked hard, but I don't think he had a particularly good game. This is heat map there. So again, you're a winger, and where are you getting? You're never in the box. You're never getting in the box. Even if the cross come from the other side, why aren't we in the box more? Why aren't our wide players in the box more? And that's what disappoints me, when from our wide players. And shots as well. Got to get in areas where we can have shots, because it is so telling that it is in the final third where we've got an issue. So Jack Harrison, I would give a 6.3 for today. So Danjuma, 63 minutes played, only 15 touches, which is just, it's nowhere near enough, is it? Not enough effect on the game. He had a couple of moments in the first half, opportunities, cutting in from the left-hand side, but it just didn't do enough with it, and that's basically, it doesn't really work hard enough off the ball. It doesn't really make opportunities. He had no shots on target, 2 shots off target, dribble attempt 1 unsuccessful, but 15 touches, that's just not enough, is it, at all? Or you can have a look at his heat map here. Have a look at his heat map here, and as you can see, there's just not enough. There's a little blob of red in the box, which is good that he's getting in the box, but just not enough for me at all. So, he has to be in and around the box, in and around where it matters, and he's not making enough effect on the game, and it was no surprise that he went off. So Danjuma, I would give a 6.3 for today. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Dominic Calvert-Lewin certainly gives his haters enough opportunity and enough, to have a go at him. And that's the bottom line, is that he had a big chance to put us ahead and he missed it. And what can you say? Again, he played an hour, just over an hour. He only had 18 touches, and obviously he is isolated, as Beto was. But when you get those chances, and you don't get many chances in the Everton team, but when you get those chances, you've got to be clinical. I don't actually think he made it particularly hard for Martinez, really, on the goal, on the opportunity for a goal. Sorry, I think what he tried to do is do what he did at Villa Park and give him the eyes and put it in the other corner, but it was far too close to him. It's bounced back, hit him and gone wide, and they're the chances. But the problem is you only get one of those chances a game, and you've got to take them. And again, I see there'll be loads of people having a go at him, and I understand why. I personally don't think Beto's better than him. I don't think Beto does enough off the ball or to keep the ball alive. But the manager's got to make a decision now, hasn't he? He's got to make a decision. Just looking at his aerial duels, he won 3 out of 6 aerial duels, won 1 out of 5 ground duels. 18 touches isn't enough. It's just not enough in a game. We're not getting our centre foot. We're not making enough chances for him, but that's a huge opportunity, and he's missed it. And as I said, he's given his haters a lot of ammunition. I don't know what people want from. I understand why people get angry. Of course, people get angry. I don't know what people want, because I don't think there's anyone better at the football club. I don't think Beto's better than them. I really don't. When he comes on, I don't think he has much of an effect on the game. Maybe if he started the game, he'd have an effect, but we'll only know if he starts games, and the manager doesn't really want to start him. That's evident. So it's a difficult one. Just show you this heat map here. Again, there's not a lot in the box. And to be fair, just mentioned Danjuma, could have changed the game. It was a great ball by Danjuma to put him in. And he's missed it. He's fluffed his lines. And how long can a centre forward sort of keep doing that without the manager saying, well, right, you're coming out now? I'm not sure, but he has to do better. So Dom 6 for today. It was a bad miss, and it could have changed the game. It really could have. So he has to get that confidence back, or he has to improve, or we have to get him better chances. I don't know what it is, because he ain't going to get many chances in this Everton team. He simply isn't. But while Beto's not doing much when he comes on, we'll have to wait and see what happens Wednesday, what the manager thinks of it. Moving on to Dwight McNeil, obviously huge surprise that he was on the bench, playing 27 minutes plus 7 minutes added on time. Only 11 touches. Again, doesn't look particularly fit. Didn't really do too much while he was on the pitch. As I said, 11 touches, 4 crosses, non-accurate, 1 long ball, no ground duels, no aerial duels. If you look at his heat map, there's very, very little on it for someone who's on. But he only had 5 touches less than Danjuma in the time he was on. So he got more touch. He got into the game a lot quicker than certainly Danjuma did while he was playing. But no effect on it at all. So Dwight McNeil, I would give a 6.1. And Beto was on for obviously the same amount of time. Ground duels won 1 out of 4. Aerial duels won 1 out of 3. Only 9 touches. And again, that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with in the final third. The players just don't get enough of the ball. And I know today was particularly tough one because we were playing against, but it was a tough one today as well. And Beto didn't have too many opportunities. Didn't have any shots. There was one which was the decent ball by Jack Harrison with the outside his foot, and I just thought if he reacted a little bit quickly, he would have seen it, but he didn't really sense where the ball was going and didn't get into that area quick enough, and they managed to get it away. But Again, just not enough effect on the game when he came in. And as I said, I'm not putting it down to him, and I'm not putting it down to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If you get chances and miss them, yeah, we can talk about that. But we do not get these players enough service, and we do not get them create enough chances for them. And that is always going to be an issue for our centre forwards. They're going to spend a long time without the ball. And that's the kind of team we are. We play non-possession football. We do not have a lot of the ball, and it means our players don't have a lot of touches of the ball. I'm just looking at the possession stats today, 31% possession. Just not going to have a lot of the ball, so you're not going to have many opportunities, and that's a huge problem. But that's the way Sean Dyche sets us up. That's the way he thinks is going to get the results for us, and that's where we are right now. So there you go. Thank you for watching the player ratings. If I apologise if you watched it live. I had an issue with my software and it crashed on me. So I've had to put the video together in 2 halves. There you go. Right, make sure you check out Baz's video, make sure you check out my Gladys Street reaction, and make sure you join us tomorrow. We'll be live at 1 over on YouTube, and then we'll be doing the final word around 3 o'clock on Toffee TV Premier. If you want to join us on that, the link is in the description. The QR code's coming on the screen. Not only do you get exclusive daily live videos, but everything is ad-free. All the shows and all the podcasts, no advert whatsoever, which surely has to be worth the money you pay for it. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.